Are you interested in moving to Denver, Colorado? Well, a lot of people sure are. And today I'm going to tell you my top 8 things that you need to know before you move to Denver. Hi everybody, I'm Lisa Palladino, your local Denver realtor with Focus Real Estate and the Central Park Scoop. First of all, be sure to subscribe to our channel, Central Park Scoop, and like this video if I give you some good tips. Okay, let's get right into it. So these are my top 8 things that you need to know before you move to Denver, right? We're going to talk about some of the fun stuff, but again, I want you to realize what you're getting into. Let's start right off. We're going to count down from 8 to number 1, and I wonder if you can tell what number 1 is going to be. We're going to start with number 8, and we're going to talk about the landscape of Colorado, right? Everybody thinks when they think of Colorado that they are moving to Aspen or Vail or the mountains. Well, Denver, Colorado is actually on what we call the Eastern Plains, okay? And technically it is a semi-arid desert ecosystem here in Denver. And so I don't know if you can see, but our city gets right up against our beautiful Rocky Mountains. But if you choose to move to Denver, you are actually going to live on the plains, and you need to be aware of that. We don't have a lot of big, huge pine trees or oak trees, okay? We've got small, little trees that have been planted 20 years ago, and they're just now starting to see their potential. It's very hot here. I mentioned it's a semi-arid desert. That means we're halfway to being a real desert. So it's very dry, it's very hot. But at the same time, I don't want to totally scare you. When I say hot, it's still fairly mild here in Colorado. And our average temperatures float about 80, 85. But with the landscape, it's something to be aware of, right? So you're not moving to the mountains if you're moving to Denver, but you're very close. That leads me to my next point, number 7, the weather, right? So once again, we discussed when you move to Denver, you're not moving to the mountains. Well, you might also think when you're moving to Denver, there's a lot of snow here. Guess what? It's not true. We do get a little bit of snow, and we get a handful of big storms that dump on us. But in Colorado, we have over 300 beautiful days of sunshine each year. That's more than the Sunshine State, Florida. And because of that, our winters are very mild, right? So if we do get that snow in the winter, chances are the next day it's gonna be gone. So just something that you need to know with the weather in Colorado. It's pretty mild. It's hot and it's dry in the summer, and in the winter, I mean, you're gonna get cold days, but for the most part, you're gonna have beautiful days in the 60s in January. And it's why we all love it, and we love to enjoy the outdoors, right? Let's talk about number 6, altitude, right? So Denver, Colorado is also known as the Mile High City. And I'm not talking about marijuana. I am talking about our elevation. So Denver is actually 5,280 feet above sea level, which is exactly 1 mile. That's why we're called the Mile High City. Again, you can see our beautiful mountains and how high we are up here, and we just love it. One thing to know about the altitude, little tip, if you've never come to Colorado, or if you're coming out, we're looking at homes, or if you're just here to spend the weekend, the altitude can affect you. You are a mile above sea level. And so we always like to tell people, take it easy for a day or two if your trip allows you. Drink lots of water, just be aware of how your body is feeling. You can take an Advil or an ibuprofen if you need it, but water is the key. Just hydrate yourself, and the altitude should not affect you. And within a few days, you tend to acclimate to it very well. Number 5, I mentioned marijuana. Now let's talk about it. You need to know before you come to Denver that it's here. Colorado was the very first state to legalize recreational marijuana, and it's definitely here in our city and throughout our state. Now, when you come, you're not just gonna smell it walking down the street, but I mean, you might, because there are a lot of warehouses that do grow it. Now, as a realtor, when I'm bringing people through homes, no, we're not gonna just smell, marijuana on the street. So I don't want anybody to be nervous about that. However, I mean, the reality is some people love it and love that it's here, and some people hate it. But you need to be aware that it is here. And the benefit of marijuana, it brings in a ton of money to the state of Colorado. Number 4, I talked about marijuana. I have to talk about beer. We're going to talk about craft breweries. We have a ton of breweries in the state of Colorado. We have 400 craft breweries here. And let me just get my stats right. Colorado is home to over 10% of the nation's craft brewery industry. And that's impressive because as a state, we have less than 2% of the country's population. I mean, there's a ton of beer. Everywhere you look, on every corner, there's a brewery. And so if that appeals to you, you're gonna like that, before you come to Colorado. It's a lot of fun to go to these breweries, sit down on a patio, try it. They have food trucks, they have entertainment. It's just kind of a way of life here in our state. It wouldn't be a Denver list without talking about professional sports, right? So number 3, pro sports. Here in Denver, Colorado, we love our sports teams. And most importantly, at least for me, the Denver Broncos. And so chances are when you're walking down the street, almost everybody is flying a sports flag, and I bet 50% of them are the Broncos. Our colors are orange and blue. What color are sunsets? Orange and blue. Just saying. Now, if you're not a football fan, and even if you are, we have lots of other professional sports teams that I want to mention. We have our Denver Nuggets, which is basketball. We have our Colorado Avalanche, awesome hockey team, right? Colorado Rockies, our professional baseball team. And we have a professional soccer team, the Rapids. And what's great about the Rapids, their facility is right here in the Central Park neighborhood. And so it's perfect, right? So you can bring your kids or your friends or family to watch a game. It's minutes from our house. Back to all of our other sports teams, all of their facilities are in downtown Denver, which is so easy to get to from this neighborhood. You just hop on the light rail and it's less than 10 minutes to any of the stadiums. So again, you're thinking about moving to Denver, you need to be a fan of all of our professional sports teams. And one thing to note, if you're not, you can find a bar or a restaurant in town that would be a home bar to any of the other teams around the country. All right, we're getting down to it. Number 2. Colorado is super healthy. Maybe it's this beautiful atmosphere around us, this beautiful landscape that I've brought up earlier. Maybe it's the 300 days of sun or more that we have every year. Our residents love to be active and healthy and get outside specifically. It's just something that you need to know. Now, maybe you don't love the outdoors and you're considering moving to Denver. All we ask is you move here with an open mind and you look at our mountains and all of these park spaces and just be, open to maybe trying something new. There are so many ways to be healthy and active in the state of Colorado. Just to name a few, guys, right? Skiing, snowboarding, hiking, biking, hunting, horseback riding, walking your dog, right? There's just so many ways to take advantage. It's our mountains, right? They inspire a sense of well-being. Could you guess what my number 1 thing to know before you move to Denver was? Well, it's dogs. We love dogs, right? I mentioned walking your dogs in terms of living a healthy, active lifestyle. And in Colorado, most people have a furry friend. Yes, some people have cats, horses, other animals, but a lot of our residents have a dog, and we love them. And so you're gonna see dogs everywhere in Denver and Colorado as well. Whether you're walking on a path at the park, a lot of our neighborhoods have dog parks where you can have your dog off leash. Whether your dog is hiking with you up in the mountains, we have doggy daycares everywhere. It's just a ton of fun. If you're sitting eating dinner or lunch on a patio, oftentimes you're going to see a little furry friend with a water bowl right next to you from the table next to you, or maybe it's your own. But I just wanted you guys to be aware. We love our dogs here in Colorado. Hopefully you do too. There you have it, guys. So those are 8 things. They're fun things, but they're things that I wanted you to be aware of if you're considering moving to Denver, Colorado, just to know before you make that decision. So again, I'm Lisa Palladino with the Central Park Scoop. We'd love it if you would subscribe to our page so you can get weekly content that we're putting out for you, whether it's in regards to real estate or just fun stuff about the state of Colorado and Denver specifically. So if you want to get in touch with me, it's 303-564-3734. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye.